Hello, in this video we are going to learn how to create seam wells in SimSolid. For the purpose of the demonstration, we're going to use this subframe model. To create seam wells, pick connections in the project tree and then use Create Seam Wells dialog box. There are 4 different approaches to creating seam wells in SimSolid. You can choose to create wells between a master part and a number of made parts. You can also create wells between a group of parts in SimSolid. You can create wells by lines or edges, or you can also create wells from solids. In this video, we're going to learn how to create wells using all the 4 approaches. Now, before doing so, let's quickly review the assembly. I have a subframe structure with 69 parts with 8 bowls, 4 nuts and 15 sheets recognized. I also have a number of wells represented by solid bodies and also named accordingly in the project tree. As a first step, we're going to try and convert these solid bodies into seam well representation in SimSolid. To do so, go back to Connections, go to Create Seam Wells dialog box, and use the 4th tab to create wells from solids. There are 2 approaches here. One, you can either pick a solid body from the interface directly, or you can also use a keyword to filter these well bodies. Let's use the second approach. Use a keyword weld and filter all the parts. Now let's find wells from these solid bodies. SimSolid is going to try and suppress these and then create a seam well representation implicitly. SimSolid successfully created 38 wells. We're going to accept it. And they're going to be created with a section size of 3 mm, which can be changed if required. We can also quickly review these wells. You can see how the wells have been created between various parts in the assembly. But if you zoom into some of these brackets, you will notice that there are a few missing wells. So we're going to try and create these wells manually. So let's go back into Create Seam Wells option and use the well by lines or edges. So I'm going to pick lines on these brackets here. And then create wells in those regions as well. So I have 2 wells created, a continuous weld on the left side and also on the right side. Similarly, we're going to try and create wells on the other side of the frame. But this time, let's use the master and made part instead. So I'm going to pick this as my master part, pick this particular bracket as my made part, and then find wells. Now you will see that SimSolid's created additional wells. We can choose to delete any wells if required. So SimSolid managed to create wells on the other side of the bracket and also the bottom side. So I'm going to go ahead and pick these 2 wells and delete them. Then we can go ahead and accept the other wells. So again, we have used a different approach, which is a master and made part approach, and created wells between these 2 brackets with a section size of 3 mm. The last method that we're going to see here is using the group weld option. In cases where you don't have wells represented as solids, you can also use the group weld option to create wells between a group of parts. Before that, let's go ahead and delete these seam wells. I'm going to delete all the parts associated with them as well. I will go back to the Create Seam Weld dialog box and pick the group weld option. The group weld option, you can pick the entire assembly or only a part of assembly. There are 2 inputs to it. One would be the section size of the weld, and there's also a minimum length requirement to create seam wells. So in this case, SimSolid is going to create a weld only if there is a minimum length of 25 mm between 2 parts. Let's go ahead and find wells. In a matter of few seconds, SimSolid is going to go ahead and find 124 welds in this particular assembly. We'll accept it, and we can also again go back and review them. SimSolid did not create a weld in this region because the length of the feature line between these two parts is less than 25 millimeters. In those cases, you can always choose to create a manual weld as well. We do have a few bolts and nuts in the model as well, and we don't want to really weld these parts. So what we're going to do is create a contact-based connection between these parts, and to do so, again go back to connections in the project tree and use automatic connections. But when you're creating the automatic connections, make sure to check this option to connect not welded parts only. This way, you're not over constraining the model. You're creating these connections only between parts that are not welded. Let's go ahead and accept it and also review them. And you will notice that the contact-based connections have only been created between the bolts and nuts and the parts around them. So this way, you can very easily create welds in SimSolid and also use automatic connections to create contact-based connections between other parts. Thank you.